The proposed VI Constitution prohibits political parties from any privileged status in government. In this video slideshow, I explain why. At present, in the Virgin Islands, 8,000 independent voters cannot participate in primary elections. If the new Constitution is passed, all voters will be able to cast ballots in all elections that determine the elected officers that represent them. Political parties will still be free to promote their version of good government, but they will have the same official status as do any other advocacy group. At present, in the Virgin Islands, there are specified roles for majority and minority party members. This will no longer be the case if the proposed Constitution is adopted. All legislators will have equal influence in selecting members for all leadership and other roles. Government officials will be elected on their own merits and their own views on local issues, and will owe their loyalty to the people as opposed to their loyalty to the ideology of any national party to which they may belong. On the national level, what makes political parties so powerful is that they have been able to infiltrate the government itself for their own advantage. The two major political parties have de facto become the government. That is, the U.S. government is the two-party system. Independent voters in particular are locked out of the inner workings of government. This is in spite of the fact that a recent national poll revealed that 47% of voters identify themselves as independents. In addition, most voters live in gerrymandered or closed primary districts where the votes have no impact because the results of the general election are foregone conclusions. And the machinery of government has been distorted by rules created by the two parties, so that even in the unlikely event that an independent candidate is elected, in order to have influence, the elected independent representative must caucus with one of the two major political parties. Political parties maintain their power in large part by addressing the needs of the wealthy and special interests. And because political party power is centralized, those special interests can work directly with national party leaders in Washington, D.C. In practice, this means that decisions are often made far away from the people directly affected. We in the Virgin Islands have little influence on the national arena, but we can shield ourselves from some of the negative effects. The Virgin Islands Constitutional Convention gives us a clean slate to create our own government. We don't need to let partisan ideology influence our choice of elected officials or the operation of our government. The solution is straightforward. Do not allow any preference for political party membership in either the election process or within the local machinery of government. A feature of opening elections equally to nonpartisans is that changes will likely be required to the way in which we in the Virgin Islands elect government officers. As presently conducted, primary elections serve to select the strongest candidates only among party members. Thus, weaker candidates within the party are winnowed out so that only the strongest, most electable candidates move on to represent the party in the general election. In the present system, all independent candidates move directly to the general election, which tends to split the vote among independent candidates and to thereby reduce the probability that an independent candidate will be elected. A fairer way to winnow out weaker candidates is ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting allows voters to choose 4 or 5 candidates that they support and to rank them in order of that voter's preference. When ballots are tallied, candidates receiving the fewest votes are eliminated, and first-place votes for the eliminated candidates are automatically assigned to the next lower-ranked candidate on that ballot, and ballots are tallied again. The process is repeated until a single candidate receives 50% plus 1 of the ballots cast. If no candidate receives the required number of votes, there will be a runoff election, including only the top 4 candidates. Ranked choice voting is an efficient method of selecting the candidate supported by the majority of voters. To be clear, political parties would still be able to select their candidates by any means of their choosing. For example, they could hold their own internal elections, But political parties would pay for and conduct those internal elections themselves, and results of those internal elections would have no influence on how their selected candidates appear on the general election ballot. Eliminating preference for political parties is one of several ways the proposed VI Constitution is a breakthrough constitution. It is likely that many communities in the U.S. mainland would like to be free of partisan control, and the VI could serve as an example of how that can be accomplished. We would be an existence proof that there is another way, a better way, to organize local government free of the two-party hegemony. Perhaps the VI will be on the leading edge of a groundswell of change that empowers people everywhere and ultimately leads to significant change in the way the U.S. government works. National implications, however, are not the central goal. Removing special privilege for political parties empowers independent voters, enhances the influence of local advocacy groups, enables more effective machinery of local government, decreases the distraction of divisive ideologies, and increases the responsiveness of government officials to the people they serve, all of which leads to more effective and inclusive government. So that's why the proposed Constitution prohibits privileged status for political parties.